Coming up next on Beyond.
We see the brain as a transmitter of consciousness. The brain is not the generator of mind or consciousness, it's the transmitter. The radio is not the source of the message. The message is coming from a source beyond the radio, and likewise we would say the brain is somehow the instrument highly perfected to be the thing to pick up on the message and tune it in. The great creative people have been those who could tune and pick up other channels.
Thought on Beyond.
After a lifetime devoted to science, England's highly respected physicist Sir James Jeans concluded that the universe looks more like a great thought than a great machine. When first considering this episode, we were intending on an investigation of how thought and emotion affect water. This was a cue taken from the much-loved film What the Bleep Do We Know, which explored the effects of thought and emotions on water, tested in the laboratory by Dr. Emoto in Japan. However, after very little research, we found ourselves moving from water to thought, to prayer to emotions, and on. As we opened each door, it led to another, and another, and another. It was at this point that we turned, as we always do, to science. And there we began looking at waves and the science of waves. We learnt that waves are amazing things, an integral fabric of the universe. That the influence of thought waves on the universe is measurable and therefore provable. Waves, like so much in physics, prove to be fundamental aspects of the standard universe, as well as some remarkable aspects of what some perceive as the paranormal universe. Waves are an essential fabric of our universe, both here and beyond.
Binaural beat, when it occurs in nature, is a sound wave that's long enough to curve around your skull so that each ear is hearing a piece of the same sound wave at the same time. Scientifically, this would allow for distance and direction perception. What happens when you create that in the laboratory, you take stereo headphones and you introduce a steady even tone into one ear, then a steady even tone into the other ear, with, say, about 4 hertz or cycles per second difference in the tones. Well, your brain is trying to make sense of this new sound and creates a totally different sound, the difference of the two tones, or in this case, 100 and 104, 4 hertz. Because both ears are hearing an almost similar sound at the same time, both hemispheres become activated equally at the same time. Many researchers believe that that whole brain functioning is coincident with aha moments, and that certain people, like Einstein for instance, had something peculiar about his brain that perhaps allowed for more aha moments than most people have.
The great creative people have been those who could pick up on could tune and pick up other channels, or pick up even one channel very beautifully, better than most of us.
So it's not just a matter of listening to the binaural beats, the hemisync. There are compounding belief systems that each one seems to add on the other. Getting a person in a comfortable position, having them use certain tools like vibrational toning or chanting, as some societies call it. This helps focus a person's thoughts so that you can get into that no-thought state, or that focused one-thought state at least.
Or pick up even one channel very beautifully, better than most of us.
You write love on the bottle, the water's molecules change when it's frozen compared to when it's not loved. And so if that can happen with water, what does it happen? What can it do with you? What can it do with you?
Dr. Emoto has published his findings, been the focus of documentary programs such as What the Bleep Do We Know?, toured the world, and done demonstrations of his experiments in public. He is trying to show the world how prayers, thoughts, and emotions deeply affect the environment, perhaps the whole planet. He discovered that clear spring water and water exposed to positive words shows brilliant, beautiful, and intricate patterns with vibrant colors. However, polluted water, or water exposed to negative thoughts or aggressive music, yields muddy, asymmetrical patterns with dull colors.
We decided to try our own experiment. We labeled 3 water jugs with the words love, hate, and peace, filled them with water, and let them sit for about 6 weeks. At the end of that time, we had 18 blindfolded subjects taste test the 3 waters. About 90% of the subjects were able to identify the hate water, some even complaining of burning or heartburn during the test.
Thought is energy, sparked by cerebral plasma firing off between synaptic gaps in the brain. All energy emits waves, and all waves interact with other waves and other forms of matter. Dr. Emoto's photographs show the expression of the interaction of thought waves with water molecules.
So energy follows thought, usually. You think something and then the energy just flows there. And it depends, what do you want to manifest? And when you're saying good things and you're thinking good things, that the energy comes to you a lot faster and it stays there. Well, I think you can hurt other people through your thoughts. I think that's how powerful man is, and he doesn't realize it. It's like when you think something that's negative, it hits that person and then it bounces back, and then it keeps going back and forth. But if it's something good that you're thinking, something nice, you get a reaction, but a different kind. And I'm a great believer in love energy, which means good thoughts. I know that thought can affect water. In fact, with your drinking water, if you just hold your glass and send it some love and some good thoughts, that it'll taste different. And when we're having our group meditations, if you'll taste your water before the group and then afterwards, your own glass, it'll taste different. Most of us are water. So therefore, if we give our body some good thoughts, we're affecting that water. So we should feel better. And so if you put love into your water, and it goes into your body, what are you giving it? Love. And the love that's within you will recognize the love that's coming in through the water.
To have a recognition that we have a higher power, and that our higher power really can be utilized for manifestation as far as anything in our life. If you can dream it, you can manifest it, is really what the message is.
We can use the analogy that it's like the radio waves that you have within your universe. You understand absolutely that within your universal existence and within this Earth system, it's possible for you to send radio waves, frequencies that can be transmitted. And you can have thousands of them transmitted simultaneously, occupying the same space and occurring at the same time, at the same instant, if you wish. And yet, you also understand that you have the capacity, through the utilization of various receiving apparatus, to tune in to one particular vibration, to one particular radio frequencies, while eliminating all the rest.
We see the brain as a transmitter of consciousness. The brain is not the generator of mind or consciousness, it's the transmitter. The radio is not the source of the message. The message is coming from a source beyond the radio, and likewise we would say the brain is somehow the instrument highly perfected to be the thing to pick up on the message and tune it in. The great creative people have been those who could tune and pick up other channels.
So thought I see as a fast, sort of a roving intellect or awareness, a roving awareness more than anything, that can identify things and can give it structure. That all material, that all lives, that all experience literally emanates from one source of consciousness that's replicated in everything. It creates the framework. Thought and synchronicity all stem directly from a spiritual truth or awareness that each and every person, each and every being has direct access to, and that becomes the governing paradigm for all living beings through all time.
There is even proof in one remarkable experiment that prayer can influence the behavior of society, therefore seemingly proving the power of thought or meditation on urban communities. This was an 8-week-long sociological experiment conducted in Washington, D.C. in 1993. Researchers predicted in advance that the calming influence of a group of meditation practice could reduce violent crime by over 20% in Washington, D.C. In fact, the experiment proved that violent crime was decreased by 23% during the 8-week period. The odds of this result occurring by chance are less than 2 in 1 billion. Dr. John Hagelin, a physicist and authority on unified fields theory.
It's analogous to the way that a magnet creates an invisible field that causes iron filings to organize themselves into an orderly pattern. We call this phenomenon a field effect of consciousness. Hagelin is not alone in this. In fact, there is a fast-growing worldwide awareness in the science community that thought has a deep effect upon the material universe, and it has now been proven that our material universe can be manipulated by our thoughts. ESP and psychokinesis are now proven phenomena, and this has led researchers to a whole new realm of questions. Could this be how evolution, in conjunction with natural selection, is actually directed? Does this explain the power of prayer? Does this explain how animal instinct and group behavior works? ESP in humans may be a dormant form of instinct that we can sometimes tune into. Because our minds have a measurable effect on matter, then many paranormal effects can be attributed to the mind. Could this explain poltergeist activity, visions, telepathy, coincidence, prophecy, and premonitions? Are we now able to prove that love is stronger than evil? Does the fact that we are molecularly entwined with the rest of the universe mean that we can influence the rest of the universe? To what degree are we able to create our own reality? Is our destiny literally in our own minds? One would be forgiven for thinking that statements such as these have been made by New Agers over tea in a local ashram. But, on the contrary, these quotes have come from respected scientists and engineers conducting proper research from all over the world, some of whom are listed here. These scientists and others have shown the effects of thought on everything from random effects generators to superconductors to subatomic particles. They have also proven that subjects who are in love have a much more significant influence on matter around them, that love is in fact a powerful enhancement for the influence of thought on surrounding events. Their research proves categorically the effect of the mind or thought on matter.
Over a period of 25 years, there have been 45 similar studies which have shown similarly successful results. Some situations have developed where mainstream science have adopted certain elements of this research. Dr. Darwin Teng, for example, worked with the University of Toronto Hard Matter Physics Department, who employed his skills as a chi master to think at their superconductors once a day in order to promote an improved growth of 25 angstroms a day. A significant cost factor in the world of crystal superconductor manufacturing. It seems, without much doubt at all, that thought, meditation, and prayer has a real and measurable effect on all matter, including other human beings. The inner world of our minds can, it seems, shape both our unseen and seen worlds.
Oh, the work of Dr. Bruce Lipton. He's a microbiologist and did a great deal of research on the cell and on genes. And his research indicates that the triggers for change in the genes within the cell come from the outer membrane of the cell, not from within the gene itself. It also opens up tremendous possibility for really understanding in a different way how important our thoughts and our beliefs are. Because, you know, as we've talked about the cascade of hormones and so on that affect the neurotransmitters and so on. Well, to have that information coming to the cell of the membrane and that be the force or the impetus for the gene to change rather than something that is programmed within the gene, I think as we have formerly believed, is really a very, very, very different way, a very empowering bit of information. And that what comes to that cell is of vast importance. And of course, that's our feelings and our beliefs and how that translates.
Is this the threshold of a new scientific reasoning? As some notable scientists have conjectured, it does seem to be very clear that the brain is operating as a biological quantum device. At least one whose influence is as measurable in the quantum universe as it is in the relativistic universe. Does this account for why the brain seems to function on so many hidden levels? Levels that we sense dimly, but have no conscious way of processing. Is the brain, as so many physicists seem to think, is a major breakthrough, a biological quantum device?
In this third season of Beyond, we will examine some of the major mysteries of the paranormal, some of which have woven themselves into the fabric of our culture. Many are interconnected with other subjects in this and other seasons of Beyond. Sometimes research leads to answers, sometimes answers from science, sometimes from spiritual realms, and sometimes from somewhere in between. Mysteries that inspire the imagination and compel us to seek an answer. Mysteries such as supernatural predators, super psychic children, body memories, sexual demons, pyramids, haunted objects, strange creatures, cattle mutilations, voices channeled from beyond, and even thought itself.
One famous psychiatrist pronounced that the human brain is a wonderful thing. It spends 90% of its time wondering what it is. Numerous scientists over the past 25 years have conducted experiments that have tried to solve some of the mystery of the human mind. Largely unsuccessfully in this, they have, however, discovered some amazing answers related to the mystery of the power of thought. We have examined some of these experiments tonight. The implications of these experiments are far-reaching, which is always a problem for the scientific paradigm. It opens the door to conjecture. However, it seems to the Beyond team, along with a few notable physicists, that these new discoveries about the power of the human mind and the field of human consciousness goes a long way to explaining supernatural mysteries, paranormal phenomena, telepathy, ESP, psychokinesis, and synchronous events. As we implied at the beginning of this episode, this subject forms a scientific bridge between our standard universe and what lies beyond.